Is being recorded on the late evening, I should say, of Thursday, July 13th, 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to talk about gold successfully testing the 150-day moving average. I've been talking about this a little bit in recent weeks, and I may have already done a video on this, although I don't think so, a specific video. But the larger point is, a couple months ago, I pointed out when gold is early in a new bull market and it has a correction, it tends to bottom at the 50-day, 100-day, or the 150-day moving average. Now, if the market is running really hot and you get the really brief corrections, that's when it comes back to the 50-day. Otherwise, it tends to be the 100-day and the 150-day moving average. Now, what we see most recently is gold basically rebounded from the 150-day moving average. And what's really interesting is if you look at the history of the major breakouts in gold, nearly every time at some point, 2, 3, 4 months before the breakout, it came down and it successfully tested the 150-day moving average. So this is gold from 1974 to 1978. Here's the famous 75, 76, 45% correction. This is the 150-day moving average here. Kind of holds it here, but here's what I'm talking about. This is the correction before the breakout. Now, then you had a big snapback, and then gold went parabolic. Interestingly, not to get too far off topic, but I think that's one possibility where for the rest of the year you could see gold, break out. Maybe it gets to 24, 2,500. Then you get the recession decline and it snaps back and retests before going, crazy to the upside after that. That's not. I'm getting off into the long term here, but this is the main thing I want to talk about. Before the breakout, tested the 150-day. Let's look at some of the other examples. 2009, okay, financial crisis. This decline, 150-day here. And, by the way, I wrote an article I did, I can't remember, maybe it was a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, something like that, where I pointed out some of the comparisons, the best comparisons for gold in to the past. And technically, gold and silver, they're following this playbook, the early 2009 playbook. And so that's interesting. And, what happened? You had successful tests of the 150-day. Now, this was in July, and the breakout was basically very end of September, October. So, that was only 3 months. Next, 2019. This is a pretty significant breakout in gold's history. You did have, here it bounced. You had a failed breakout here. So I don't want to say this is 100% foolproof. I'll get into that a little bit more before the end of the video. But look, gold comes down here, tests the 150-day, boom, then it breaks out. Now, of course, you had the Fed shifting policy. So I don't know. Maybe the catalyst is the Fed is going to have to pause here, or they will pause at some point in the next month or couple months. I know I've been calling for that basically since the Dark Ages to make a joke, to make it at my own expense. But it's coming. So that you could see something similar. But larger point, tested the 150-day. All right, so here we are now. What just happened? Gold tested the 150-day. And, this consolidation, this is looking kind of mature, people. If you're telling me gold is not going to go below 1,900 anymore, this market's going to break out in the next 2 or 3 months, most likely. Now, let's look at it all in one chart. I'm using a weekly chart here, so 31-week moving average, a equivalent moving average on the weekly chart. And you can see here, God, I mean, you can see, but I'm having trouble looking at this without my glasses on my laptop. So you have the dark blue when it tests the 150-day. I mean, is this purple? I'm sorry, I'm colorblind, so it just looks like a light purple to me. So here, you go back here. This was the test, breakout, 1978. You know, then you had the snapback, and boom. This is you could call this a failure here. You had this right here, you know, potential breakout, 1987. You know, kind of tested the 150-day, and then also here in the mid 90s. Hold it, you know, sort of, you know, not perfectly, but just to be fair to the bearish side, we could say these are two failures. And then also, I didn't do an individual slide of this, but, you know, this is a pretty big breakout too. 2002, 2003, test the 150-day, breaks out. Here's another example, 2007. So I didn't show those. I mean, the main ones were this. 2009, and then you have this here, 2019. So there's the test right there. I mean, there's the 2009. You had these tests right here, and here we are. I mean, here's the test of the 150-day. I mean, you guys tell me. I mean, this is looking pretty bullish. I mean, this is pre-breakout behavior based on gold's history. So let me know what you guys think. Really interesting stuff, in my opinion. I think this is going to pan out, but that's just me. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much for tuning in. Talk to you guys again in the next video.